a sympathy like D-Walk and Fun. I'm always going to have the lead runner up, and then I'm going to have Fun up on the second chart. I'm just going to answer questions basically off of my own personal experience. It might not be the correct way or what someone else has told you, but this is how I found to be profitable and make money in the market. So that's how I'm going to answer the questions. First thing I do when I come down every pre-market morning, I just look at the top gainers and I just kind of get a market sentiment from how high one is up. If I see a 30% runner of the morning, more than likely I'm going to be taking small shares. I'm probably going to ease into the day. I'm not going to play the first 30 minutes of the market just to see how things react at the bell. If I come down here and I see like 80%, 100%, 300% runner, I'm probably going to be taking size. I'm probably going to be playing hammer candles at the bell, and basically take my day for that. Like right now, we're not in a crazy market, so it's time to size down. Whenever DWalk ran like 2,000% and Fun ran like 5,000%, that's when you need to be going heavy and taking solid setups. Some setups for me, like after the bell, I usually play the bell, like I said, unless we have a really small day, like 30% gainer or less. I'm looking for a hammer candle. This right here is what this might not be at the bell, but this candle right here is a hammer candle. Like it sells off, it gets balled up. I'm looking to buy it, like right in there. I'm not gonna risk below the wick because if you risk below the wick, it's gonna flush lower. And then I'm probably gonna sell on the pop. That's how I play the opening bell. Like buy the dip, and I sell at the top at the hammer candle.
Ross, did you say that you did set your stop at the bottom of the wick?
Yes, if I'm playing a hammer candle like this right here at the opening bell, I'm not gonna buy this candle until it starts wicking up. Like let the thing sell off. Let it sell off as much as it wants. The more it sells off and the more it hammers up, that's a good sign. It's gonna push higher. So if I buy this candle like way after it wicks, I'm gonna risk right there and no lower. And then after the next candle or this candle pops, I'm gonna sell. If it doesn't go into a halt and it tries to go into a halt, I'm just gonna sell. I'm just gonna lock it. I'm playing the opening bell as a scalp and a scalp only. Unless
I had a question.
what's that?
I was just going to ask you: is there a certain criteria for a look or anything in particular that makes your eyes actually go to a stock to watch for a hammer candle?
Yeah, so it's got to be something that is up on the day, huge, or the top gainer on the day. It's going to be something that's ran the past few days, um, like 100% or more. Something with a lot of volume. You can even do this with large caps, like I think Nvidia was one last week, the talk of the week. Like if you played this even at the opening bell, look, this is the 930 candle. It sold off, it got balled up, and then it never looked back. So it's basically just something with like huge volume. It can't be something that people ain't looking at. You want people to be looking at this trade and eyes to be on it.
And sir, on your left side screen, you have where you were showing the double bottom right there, where it wicks on the bottom running up, and the second candlestick when it's wicking down. That's a indicator of a run up, like a little squeeze too. That little wick down below next to that candle with a slight wick up. Those opposite wicks right there is a good reversal indicator too that you're gonna make a little run up.
Right there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's just like the hammer candle technique. If it's not a crazy pre-market though, and you're under PDT, I wouldn't even worry about the first 30 minutes of the day. Patterns and stuff don't set up until later in the day anyways. You don't even know how the market's going to be until later in the day. I don't always play the opening bell, but if I'm due, it's going to be something with high volume. It's going to be a lot of eyes are going to be on it. You guys got any questions? You can just type them in the chat. And like I said, if I'm playing sympathies like GameStop, if GameStop halted up today, I would personally know just from my experience, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit AMC with everything I can. Because if GameStop halts up, that's a crazy move. I know AMC will halt up right after it. And then after you go to AMC, you can go down the list to the next set of simps, like COS and Express and BlackBerry.
So you pair both of those to alternate.
What was that?
You kind of play off each one of you play off those two where if one does this, the other one will start rising. Are you playing those two off of each other?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's how I play simps. Like GameStop and AMC are always going to be connected together. If GameStop's having a crazy up day, I'm going to pull over and look at AMC and see what it's doing because it's going to follow the exact same thing. And then that's actually the same way you play. I played D-Walk and Fun recently. Like they hold hands. Every single move they make is identical. If D-Walk goes up 10%, Fun's going to go up 3 to 5%. Do you ever trade pre-market? Typically, I don't trade pre-market. I just use the hours between 7 and 9:30 to just kind of get a feel of how the market's going to be and um, if stuff's actually following through. Like patterns set up pre-market, if they're not following through in pre-market, then I'm probably just going to be a little bit more gun shy during the market open and not take as many trades.
Yeah. Well, this to English for my international friends. The story I will be telling.
Like 90% of the day that I'm sitting at the desk, I'm not even in a trade. So like how I like to play, what's something that ran recently, Prague. Like if I'm playing Prague, I'm probably playing it for 1 to 3 5-minute candles only. I'm not gonna. This is just my personal style. I don't sit and hold this all day long. I know I leave a lot of money on the table, but the times that I've correctly guessed an all-day runner are very, very slim. So therefore, like I'm buying on 1 5-minute candle at the end or at the top of it at a breakout, and I'm selling like on the next 5-minute candle or the next 5-minute candle. I don't hold stuff all day long like some of these people, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you're comfortable doing, that's not what I'm comfortable doing though. This was a ABCD setup that we had on Thursday that failed. What do you consider huge volume? It's usually something that's on the very top gainer making sales like D-Walk. Everybody was talking about D-Walk there for a couple of days. That's a high volume stock. I don't really look at average volume too much because I want to see like 50, 20, 50, 100 million volume pre-market, something crazy. What are the main tech analysis point utilized the most? I use big indicators that I use is what Brad used. I use VWAP, 9 EMA, the 20 EMA, the 50, the 200. Brad, he actually doesn't like the VWAP that much, but it's actually one of my favorite indicators. On my experience, like short sellers love that indicator. Anything above VWAP, they not as aggressive with. And then anything above VWAP, that's when it's still in play to me. I look at the daily levels as well on charts, like DWAC here. I have it drawn out. This is my demand zone. It might not be like Cadence perfect demand zone or Ace's perfect demand zone. This is just something that works for me. And it's still in that demand zone. It's bounced from 1, 2, 3, 5 other times. So I'm looking for this to hold 50 for continuation. I'm just reading the questions in the chat. If something moves well in pre-market and begins to sell off at open, are you looking to take the first candle with the hammer candle method? Yeah. If something's moving well in pre-market and begins to sell off at open, if it sells off on the first, second, even third candle, and it starts to hammer back up, and I'm definitely going to be looking to take an entry. Just based off price action, I look at the level 2 and the time and sales, and if it starts to hammer, I'm definitely going to be looking to take an entry.
Hey, Walrus, I was going to ask you, you said that a lot of times taking the hammer candle, you like to put your stop at the bottom of the wick. What if it's just like a ginormous wick, though? Like kind of like GME over there, how it flushed, and it's just, obviously it tried to hammer back up. Not quite that kind of waterfall, halt down look, but just, yeah, right there you go. There you go.
So you're talking about like this, AMC and GameStop do this a lot because they're always like the top of trading now. And I look at them almost every single day that I'm trading. So what's your question? Like this hammer candle, you're saying if it hammers all the way down, what?
Yeah, okay, so right there where your cursor's at, like if you were to take that, when it's starting to hammer up, would your stop still be down there in relation to the wick size?
That's a good question. So in relation to the wick size, I'm just, as soon as I take my position, I'm moving my stop right there. That way, just it doesn't flush on me, because this thing could literally flush like another $1 or $2. And then as it starts to hammer up, I'm going to move my stop up, and hopefully it hammers up above my entry. That way I don't have to take a loss. And this one, I would have probably wrote it up all the way to right here. As soon as this candle started selling right back off, I'm going to exit, because then it's just going to, look how wicky it's getting. That's just showing sellers are up here. So I'm going to take my shares out and then move on, and I'll probably watch it for a few more candles. But definitely, you got to move your stop up as the price goes up, because if you're playing the opening bell, it's super risky. Like if you're new, you probably shouldn't be playing it at all. It took me up until like the last 7 months to even start playing the opening bell. And this is just my first year like as a full-time trader. So and the hammer candle works very well for me though.
Have you ever had that? Have you ever taken a hammer like that and then had your stop set to where you wanted it, and then actually had it like come back through your stop with some slippage and like stop you out at the bottom of the move?
That's a good question. So yeah, that happens a lot to me actually, just because it's a size issue. Like if I put my stop like 10,000 shares or something, yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit of slippage on every single field probably. For smaller accounts though, I don't think the field issues are gonna be that big of a deal. Just try to move your stops like above even numbers or something, or move it above where you think everyone else is gonna have their stop as a smaller account. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. Thank you.
I'm just looking through the questions here. It's also a good point too. Like if you stop out of the opening bell and like you break even or lose just a few dollars, don't count it like as a loss. Like if you don't make money on that trade, if you're playing the opening bell, you should be over PDT. You don't need to be under PDT trying to play the opening bell, because majority of these, like 70% of these don't work. 30% work, and 30% work good enough to cover the losses for the 70%. Just going through the questions here. Your indicators are the wrong colors. Fuck you, Happy. If you don't have your indicators red, purple, blue, yellow, green, you're wrong. How long did it take you to develop balls confidence for once you started realize your style? So confidence takes a while. Like confidence comes from repeatedly just taking setups that you see that proven to work. I can't tell you how many times that I took a setup that failed and I was like, I'm not taking it again. And then I watch it the next time, it just goes like, all these setups, they're not 100% proven to work. Like 70% of them of the good A+ setup goes, 30% fail. Just like that prog setup the other day. It was a perfect ABCD to me. It failed. Scalping for a few candles versus holding all day. Yeah, I don't typically ever hold anything longer than, I would say, my max 30 minutes. Unless it's a sympathy that I'm looking for it to catch eventually at the end of the day. I'm chilling all cash. I don't really. I guess some people uh, would say that it's kind of like scalping. I'm not as bad as somebody that used to be in the Discord. Like he would literally buy and sell for pennies. Like I'm playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute candles, but no more than that usually. I'll use the 1 minute time frame as well. If something is really like holding the 9 on the 1 minute, it's very bullish to me. Dip buys, yeah. What's a ticker that ran good on Friday? Anybody? That held like the EMAs?
I don't want to hear that shit. Fucking so fast.
I don't even know. Like we'll just look at AMC because I have it up. If I'm buying dips, I'm looking at buying. I'll watch the 9 EMA. I won't buy much off the 9. I'm not a big fan of the 9 EMA. I'm more of a fan of the 20 EMA. The 20 is super strong. As you can see, look how it hammers off the 20 here. Here it gets bought back up. There it's off the 20 again, and then it eventually fails. So I'll play those bounces off the 20 EMA a bunch. What is an A plus setup for you? Ascending triangle is my favorite setup. I think BKKT had one a couple days ago. Perfect. See if I can find it here. I think me and Happy was talking about it. Yeah, here we go. Some people had this drew differently. I see an ascending triangle here though. I actually bought it on the breakout of the ascending triangle. That's my A plus setup, and that's what I'll go to every single time. I'm putting the whole count in if I see an A plus setup like that. And typically I'm buying off the bottom trend line or an EMA. I'm selling most of my shares on the breakout level. And then if it really goes crazy, I'll just put my stop back at the breakout level right here. And then I'll just ride the freebies. Look how far that goes. You could just ride. And as soon as it shows the the tweezer top here, cut your shares. My favorite question, shake my head. Do you use the SMA? Yeah, I use the simple moving average. Estimated moving average, simple moving average. Are you limit buying or selling or marketing in and out? I do both. Typically, I'll market buy, and I'll hit the ask. I never bid. If you bid, you're just waiting on something to come down. Like if you have a big bid order in, people are going to see that and they're going to push the price up before it hits you. So I never bid. Just buy the ask and I scale out on the bid. Just about to ask this for active trader buttons. Yeah, I'm mostly marketing in, marketing it out. PetX, Pet TV for Thursday. Yeah, Pet V is very close to daily breakout, Bianca. Like look at this gap. Over 430. It's probably going to be in the gap. After the first 30 minutes, the market open. What do you hope to see in a solid setup? Higher lows or sold off with average volume. I'm looking for higher lows always. Higher lows is a bullish signal to me. And I have all the bullish patterns saved on my wall and all the bearish patterns. I always just try to play the bullish patterns instead of the bearish. I had a head and shoulders on one of these charts. I don't remember which one it was. What's up, Swally? Someone watching can share the screen and change it. How do you size in your trades? Is it one entry or multiple scales? What do you approach this going out? So for me, I know going heavy is not for everybody, but my first initial starter size, I go heavy. And the way I like to time out my trades is I don't like to be red at all. So if I'm buying like a 3-bar or something right here, this is a perfect 3-bar. If I'm buying this, I'm going heavy at the end of this candle or as soon as it starts to hammer up. And then if it goes back below, I'm probably going to stop out. If it dips a little bit below, I'll average in some more. Multiple scales, yes. I always scale out. I never sell all at once. What is the approach to scaling out? So for me, I just market sell in small quantities as the volume's coming in near a breakout. I never wait until the volume dries up to scale because I don't want to kill the Momo. Like if I market sold 20, 30, 40, 50,000 shares on the bid, it's just going to kill the Momo. Everybody's going to see that wick and be like, okay, I don't want to play that anymore. So I just try to scale out small at a time. Or do you prefer to use the 20 on the 1, 3, or 5? So that's a good question. I'm strictly 80% during the day. I'm on the 5-minute time chart. If something is literally parabolic, I will switch to the 1 minute. That way I can play on a smaller time frame. I also use the 30-minute time frame as well for a bigger picture idea. And I look at the daily for daily resistant levels. Tell was an EMA rider. Let's see. Yeah, so this is a perfect EMA rider. If you can find these trades all day long, then you're set. Because you can just dip by off the 9 and risk below the 20, and then look at this thing. It doesn't break below the 20 until 3:35 in the evening. Don't forget about this question. Any light bulb moments in your career that you'd like to share? I don't know off the top of my head. I'm a huge Sympathy type trader though. Like Brad hates me all the time for like trading DWALK and fun still, but they offer opportunity every day. So yeah, I'll be watching Pet TV. As far as time frames go during this play, do you look at the 30-minute time frame throughout the day on a play? Yes, always. Or do you? I look at the 30-minute time frame as I'm trading on the 5-minute time frame. If the 30-minute time frame's bullish and the 5-minute time frame shows a little weakness, I'll be a little bit more lenient with my stop loss until the 30-minute time frame fails, and then I'll move on. Yeah, it always shows a better trend on the bigger time frame. Just gonna mumble medium. Try now. You guys have any questions, you can just feel free to ask. I'm going down the chat right now. Do you face any performance anxiety or pressure to execute? Yes, always. I get FOMO all the time, but it's just part of it. I just move on. I always just say to myself, there's going to be another trade. How do you deal with it if you have ever? The way I deal with it, like if I see DWAT go 1,000%, then I know the next thing with that type of news, pre-market or after the bell, I'm just going to slap it. Just kind of like Amazon news. Like I know a lot of people in here trade that. If anything with Amazon news is bullish, just hit it. Big headline, it's usually gonna pop. Someone burped on voice. Do you ever? Hey, I already read that. What gives you the most conviction on overnight plays? I like losing at the daily chart. Like if I don't overnight very much on my main account. But if I do, it's got to be something that looks really good, and I check the filings as well. I can't have any open offerings or any shelves. Got to be close to probably a resistance level on the daily. I like theme plays, kind of like CSCW, the Facebook metaverse. I think the metaverse is going to be a big theme here in a month, maybe 2 months. How long did it take you to find out what tips helped you? Consistent style, ideal patterns. Just the biggest thing that helped me with patterns is just actually drawing them out myself on every single high moving ticker. Like it took me the longest time to be able to actually buy a pattern trade until I actually saw them keep working. So just keep drawing them out on your charts and watch where they bounce from. If you don't draw them right, then just keep drawing them. I mean, a lot of people like to use wicks when they're drawing patterns. I don't. I like to use the body of candles. It's just something that the way I've traded. Another great setup of mine is I play the flag setup. A bull flag I'll play 9 times out of 10, and it usually works out. So look for those flag setups like this right here. Just like you can literally find these flags all day long. Buy at the bottom, sell at the top, and move on. That's how I'll play that setup. I won't be in it too long. Brings me to another good question. The box setup. A lot of people in here like playing the box setup. So for me, I don't play the box setup until it confirms. Anybody know a ticker that's made the box recently? Way I can show you guys. This is kind of a box right here. So here, like this is a big knife down, trade sideways a little bit. I won't play this until it breaks back above the box level. And the reason why that is because this is setting up to be a bear flag, and it's just going to break lower. If I'm trying to guess that this is going to break back up, then it's not going to happen. So that's why I wait till the box level is confirmed back above to start playing again. You're welcome. Good idea. Who would win a fight? 1 versus 100 turkeys? Probably 100 turkeys.
Hey, Walrus, I was going to ask you a question there. Do you have a middle scroll wheel on your mouse?
I do.
If you click your middle scroll wheel on your mouse down, it brings up your tools there. I seen you go up to your drawing tools. That's a little trick I knew that I didn't know if you may know it or not. So
yeah, I knew. It's just a habit of me going up here. I don't know. I've been doing it for a while now this year,
right.
So I'm used to it.
I always try to help people.
How do you tell if a theme is genuine and stick versus a fade and flavor of the day? A theme is over a multi-day. A theme is not like one day. Like the EV theme last year where everything literally went crazy. Like I think Brad called DPW that went like from single digits to $10 or something. So yeah, it's got to be like a theme. A theme sets up over days. Like things like in the EV sector, like if you see 3 EVs run like 200-300%, go to FinViz, start searching up for another EV company that no one's caught on yet. People are always going to be looking for these type of trades, just like the weed sector, weed themes, Bitcoin themes. Create watch lists on your trading platform. That way you can see if something's running that day. Like all the time, weed sector's running, Bitcoin sector, it just comes in themes. Right now, the Bitcoin sector is not really that hot. Walrus, once you start scaling out, do you take your stop off? Sometimes I get nervous to take stop off because I'm afraid it will knife. So can sell. So if I'm up, sometimes I'll just flatten. Yeah, there's no. I'll always just take my stop off. If I'm getting ready to scale out and the stock's moving up, I'll just take my stop off and start scaling. A lot of people don't like using stop losses, hard stops at least. I do just because I have a risk level that the max that I want to lose, and I don't want it to go below that. And I'll stop out, and then if it comes back, I'll just get back in. For people over PDT, like as soon as the candle or the pattern changes from what you thought was going to happen, just get out. You don't have to win on every trade. Just get out, take a small loss, and get back in if it confirms what you thought it was going to do. From a psychological standpoint, what does it take to get over performance anxiety? That's a big thing, like if you're on a losing streak and that's in your head, then you're gonna be kind of gun shy to take a trade. I understand that. So for me, I just like to look at the end result, like what I'm at now from where I started. And I'm a big person, a fan of like, you don't need to just deposit in over PDT. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do, but different people are comfortable losing different amounts of money. Like for me, I started small on Webull. I only put in what I was comfortable losing, and that was a small amount. I went into the market with a couple $1,000, and if I lost that $1,000, $2,000 or whatever, I'm not going to put any more in, and I'm just going to call it quits. That was my third time, and I went into each trade. I didn't have to worry about losing that money because I deposited to my account with that thought, and I only took the most perfect setups. I never took anything that wasn't up on the day, wasn't in a theme, wasn't a sympathy. Like you see people trading. There's nothing bad about this right now either. Like you see people still trading Oxygen. Like you see people trading Oxygen on this downtrend. Like I'm not buying that. I'm not trading it. I'm not even looking at it. There's nothing wrong with it. Just the bounces are so much smaller. Like this bounce, so much smaller than playing the uptrend. I want to get in when the stock is going in and straight up. As soon as it does that, I'm out. I'm moving on. From Walrus for flags, are you placing bids or slapping the ask when it's down? I'm always slapping the ask. I never, ever, ever place a bid. And if the flag breaks down, I'll just get back out, or I'll average down at the EMA if it looks like it could possibly bounce from the 9 or the 20. The tape, I love it. The tape? I love it. Do you also your favorite broker? My favorite broker is TD Ameritrade. Look at this matrix and day trading platform. You can't get this anywhere else. Do you have a hard risk reward for each trade, like 1 or 2 better? If so, do you scale out once your target is reached or let the price? So no, not really. I know I should, but just my style, I'm in the trade like just for a few minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then I get out. Like the bigger picture, I know could be so much bigger, but I don't look at that picture time frame until the market is literally in like FOMO. Like people, when we have an opening bell where 5 different tickers are halting up at once, yeah, I'm gonna let my winners ride a long time then. But I just try to stay with what's consistent. This is like a day job. I do with what makes money. I lock it in. Did you ever blow up accounts in your career? If so, common mistakes. Yes, I blew up my Robinhood account. I blew up my Ustock account. I blew those accounts up by never looking at charts. Pretty much, I didn't know what I was doing. I was literally just buying into dips and hoping the stock worked out because it was up on the day, and blew up those accounts. Do you have a max number of stocks on a daily watch list? That's a good question. So I typically like to have anywhere from 2 to 8 stocks. Every single day I come down to the desk, I make a watch list. And that watch list is either going to come from previous day runners, weekly runners that's been running for a week. It's going to come from the gapper list, something that's up 80, 100, 300%. Or it's going to be a simp to one of the main runners in case the main runner halts up and open. That's how I get my watch list. A big thing too, like you have to have your eyes on something with potential. Like if you're watching just dead cat stuff, then you probably need to focus somewhere else. Like if you're a Momo trader, do you short or only long trade? So I will go short sometimes. It's usually got to be a ticker that I can easily borrow though. So most of the time it's large caps, because I'm not on the short program list with TD. Did you buy Chevy? Oh my god. Any opinion on trading using leverage with CFDS 5 times or more? Thanks. What is CFDS? Anybody know? Anybody? Anybody know?
I thought he meant CDs.
CDs.
Ticker?
So it's a contract for difference. It's risky, sales said.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't trade that
Yeah,
stuff.
you don't have them in the US that much, I don't think. I think it's
Okay,
more
yeah, I
European,
don't trade
UK
that
thing.
stuff. What type of scanners do I use throughout the day to find loads hit on the stock? So that's a good question, actually. I use trade ideas, and for the most part, I don't really care about loads. I'm not looking to play those type of moves, and there's nothing wrong. Like if you want to play Furu plays or whatever, but in my personal experience, in my trading journey, I know I lost money overall playing those plays, so I don't even look at them. I follow those guys just to see what's moving, but if there's four guys forcing a stock up, I'm more than likely not even paying attention to it because I don't care about it. It's not on my radar. I like to trade natural volume. I want natural eyes to want to be buying this stock or something. I don't want people, 5, 6 dudes tweeting a stock saying dip buy. Because in my personal experience, I'm going to stop out below my risk level, and then they're going to send a tweet, and then it's going to spike back up. And I don't want to go through that. It's not worth my time. I think CFDs are not allowed in the USA. Yeah, I don't know what those are. We'll get there ahead of time before Catalyst or see the news coming. Yeah, Catalyst plays. I love Catalyst plays. Do you shoot for daily or weekly goes? So when I went full time, I went for a daily go with $4,000. I quickly learned that wasn't going to happen because it wasn't that hot of a market. So I turned my daily go into a green day only, and I'd be happy. Before I went full time, I made sure I had a couple years salary saved up from trading, overall profitable. That way I wouldn't be too stressed out trying to make money. $4,000 a day, too small for him. $4,000 a day was crazy to me when I first started. What's your approach to a stock that has really good news and it's forgotten or missed by the market? Did you try to get in early to the crowd? Yeah, so if I see something with good news pre-market that hasn't really reacted yet, I'm probably going to be dip buying it in pre-market and holding through the bell. Usually, like if all eyes are focused on one big runner that's up, if that big runner like halts up at the bell or something, they're going to go back to like other news plays that hit during pre-market that didn't really get any eyes, and it'll probably get momentum as well. Don't make me before. You said daily. I already said that. Simply trade your setups. I just trade the setups now. I don't have daily or weekly goals. Well, my daily goal is to be green. I don't want to be red. I don't know. What else can I talk about?
Lars, I have a question for you. It may be too it may be too personal. It's nothing technical to do with the chart. I was just curious as to what your biggest win was and also your biggest loss and how you handled each of them.
My biggest win. Let me think on that. Okay, my biggest win is probably Neuro. I don't know if any of you guys were playing it this day when we had this crazy.
Is that over summer?
Yeah, it was over the summer when it went crazy.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's when I was messaging you, freaking out, Walrus. That was my day also.
Yeah, that was my biggest trade ever on that single ticker. I don't remember what day it was, but it was crazy. The best hammer candle we've ever had. I don't remember where it was. Let's go to the daily. But here's what the candle, like this stock was trading this day, and it wasn't dying. It just kept getting bought back up. And then pre-market, we were up here in this level with huge volume, so there was interest in it.
Your stream's not running, Walrus. Oh, okay, there it is. Or Chris
Oh,
K.
Sorry, no, I'm not running my stream, am I? It's fine. Neuro was my biggest trade. We got it like at 16s, and it went to $39. My biggest loss, I want to say it's one of the shippers, or it's SNDL, and I just put those on my list. I don't trade Like if you don't have a list of tickers you don't trade, then you need to start making that tick. You need to make that list. How do you play sell the news type setup? Similar question. If I'm swinging into the catalyst, I'm probably selling a day or two before the news hits if the stock's up. If I'm buying it on, I never slap a headline. Like if Oxygen released the news of the WHO that day, I'm not slapping that because everyone is expecting that news. It's probably just going to sell back off. When we get a little mania like D-Walking Fun we're running, there were like 5 things halting up and we had crazy gainers. How do you decide which one you trade? I just stick with the main runners. I stick with D-Walking Fun. If I miss those, then I may go to the next few down the list. Like I think Dats got hit off of it and Mark. But I'm sticking to the main runners. And even when I'm playing like sympathy plays, I always try to stick with the main runner. Because to get a sympathy play to work, the main runner needs to keep going. If I miss the main runner and it's going parabolic, that's when I usually go to simps. When you chart zones or trends, do you keep them on after they break or take off? I keep my zones and charts on. Yeah, I always keep those on. Any other questions you guys think of? You play options? Would you buy options on uptrend? I don't play options. It's something I've never traded. And I would probably be confused trying to trade them. Do you play options on uptrend? Yeah, you could probably buy options on uptrend. Happy Gilmore would be the guy to message about that though. When looking for sympathies on FinViz, what type of ticker gets your attention? Ones that have volume increase. So I'm looking on FinViz for simps when something is up probably 200% or more, maybe even 100% on a slow day. I just go to the same sector. I do like to take the lowest float one and the one with the most volume on that list that you see on FinViz. And always the simp is going to be cheaper than the main runner. Yeah, happy can answer all your chart or your option questions. As you were aggressively compounding your account, how did you adapt to this sudden increase in size that came with that growth? It took me a long time to do that. It is emotional, but if you have risk set, then it's no big deal. Like you can't just go into these trades on hopium thinking that they're going to go up and then just, ride the stock all the way down because you're afraid to sell for a loss. Like a lot of people will hold on to these stocks thinking I'm going to sell if it goes back to my entry price because I'm tired of it. Well, and maybe it won't go back to your entry price for 2 or 3 days, Always have a risk level where you're not going to take a loss below that level. Move on. Do you have any session record? For growing my small account though, like always try to find an overnight. Like I was trying to overnight stuff like at least 2 times a week. It didn't happen every night because you can't find stuff every night to overnight. But 2 to 3 times a week definitely. What about your friendship with Brad made you the number 2 best trader in MTA? I'm not the number 2 best trader in MTA. What do you think? Do you think in-person stock combos had examples helped? I think that me messaging Brad asking questions helped. Just like, everybody should be messaging somebody asking what's and whys for somebody who acts like they know what they're talking about. The EMAs definitely helped. Watching the level 2 time and sales and just looking at the daily charts also helped. What do you look for to choose an overnight? I look for something that was up on the day with huge volume and didn't die. Something that's still in an uptrend. Let's see. Is there any also for the overnights, all overnight theme plays or catalyst plays as well. Like if there's a catalyst and then a near future, all overnight try to play the run up. All overnight T2 plays as well. Not all of them because I don't like them all. They have to actually look good to me. Yeah, there's a huge difference in my strategy and Brad's. Brad likes to play the breakout. I'm not a big breakout trader. And Brad likes to play the box setup. I don't play the box setup because, like I said, if you play the box setup and it doesn't box, then you're going to get knifed on. Did you ever go through any courses or reading books? I've never read any books. I haven't read any courses. It's basically just screen time. I think screen time is the best thing you can get. Yeah, it's the best and main teacher. Like me and Brad have different days all the time now. Like we never trade the same. Well, we trade similar, but like Brad doesn't like playing the sympathy plays, and I do like playing the sympathy plays. Brad likes playing something that's after unhalts. I don't play stuff right after the unhalt. What do you look for when reading the time and sales? I don't know. Like I'm kind of just looking at how much buy volume, and I'm looking at the sizes. I'm looking to see if algos look like they're turned on. Time and sales is not really that much. Level 2 is better. OnlyFans link, yeah, I'll DM it to you.
So I don't know this. This group. I don't know this group at all, but he posts really cool stuff.
Who? Oh. Brad is a momentum trader. Yeah, Brad is definitely the GOAT. Like I said, I'm still new. I'm nowhere near Brad's level of experience. I've only been full time a year, and I'm highly successful this year, but I'm nothing compared to him. Brad takes twice as many trades than me during the day, just because he sees things different than me. I don't. Sometimes I only trade from 9:30 to 11. If I don't see anything after that, I'm keeping my green day and moving on. Any piece of advice from Brad that has stuck more than anything else? I mean, I can say it, but I don't like saying it because a lot of newbies, I don't like them go heavy on every single trade. Brad has always told me if you like the trade good enough to put $100 in, then you should like it enough to put $1,000 in. So that's what I do. I always try to go heavy on good setups. The thing is you can never go heavier more than what you're going to be emotionally attached to that money. If you're emotionally about it, then you're going too heavy. You got to be comfortable. Webull versus TOS. So good thing. It's a good question right there. When I started growing my account, I used Webull, and I never looked at the level 2 on Webull. It's trash. I had a TD Ameritrade account. I used the app, and I just switched back and forth between the apps to make my buys and sells. The charts on TOS are also better. You have a max loss per day where you call it absolutely. If I'm taking trade after trade and I can't get nothing going, I'm just going to call it a day and come in the next day, because what I tend to do when I'm down is I will snowball into the next trade. I'm thinking like, okay, I need to take something with range and I need to take something with size. And that's bad to think. You shouldn't be doing that. I have to catch myself all the time and stop myself from doing it. And just for the win part of that, just always lock in wins after win after win. Small wins add up. Unless you pay extra for NBO Webull shows. Yeah, Webull trash level 2. TD's free, by the way. Any advice you give in DMs regarding my stop loss, placing it for a maximum amount you're willing to lose versus based on chart? Always base it on the chart, not the maximum amount you're willing to use. Like I don't want to lose my max amount on one single ticker if it falls below a certain level. And I'm only playing stuff in uptrends as well, the main part. anything else.
Walrus, do you also keep a Weeble account funded just for those special occasions to where you may need 4 a.m. access on certain moves?
So no, to answer the question, I did not. But I'm doing a challenge account again where I have just a Weeble account to have access at 4 a.m. But other than that, no, I don't. I hardly ever overnight something on my main account unless I think it has crazy potential. Because by the time 7 a.m. rolls around, it's usually back down a little bit lower than where I could sell at. Weeble's great for 4 a.m. access, though. I highly recommend it. And for growing your account, Weeble's the bomb. Watch some signs to determine the backside of the trade is in. So things that I look at is whenever it has fell below my indicators. When it's below VWAP, I think it's on the backside of the trade. The VWAP play actually is a very good trade I like to play as well, is what Brad talks about. If you're buying dips on the backside of the trade and it comes back up to test VWAP, VWAP's the target 9 times out of 10.
Hey, would you like fish?
If it tests it like 2 or 3 times, then the 3rd time, 4th time, yeah, it has potential to break back above and squeeze, but
I like to watch something.
Walrus, what is it? I may have missed the point there, and I'm sorry if I did, but what were you saying that Weeble was good for? You know, building your account. How so versus Thinkorswim? Like, what would be? Is it just the 4 a.m. access?
Yeah, just the 4 a.m. access, and I mean that's for just overnights. Because whenever you're under PDT and growing your account, you really need that 4 a.m. access. Because if something has popped up, kind of like Fun and Mark did overnight, they went like 1,000%, and then fell back down 200% before like 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. You really want to be able to sell on those pops. The biggest thing when growing your account is just if you're taking those overnights to sell on the pops is just sell when you're up on the next day. You know, the biggest goal there, you want to save a day trade. That's for people under PDT though. Anybody over PDT, definitely TD Ameritrade. Best way to deal with a big loss. If I'm taking a big loss and it's a setup that I'm confident in, it doesn't really bother me that much. If I take a big loss though, on the day, I usually just size down the next day until I get back in the groove because it can definitely affect your mental state and affect how you trade. I just try not to rush into a trade after the bell as well. What makes you take a large cap play versus a penny? I always have large caps on my watch list as well. I don't post my large cap watch list because most people don't care about those, but I'm flipping through large caps all day long. And it's going to be something like, just kind of like NVIDIA was this week. It was something that ran all week long. Everybody was talking about it. It was up on the Facebook metaverse rumors. And I just watch SPY with them as well. If SPY is going up and I think like NVIDIA is going to go, I think that it should recover and go green as well. A lot of the large caps dip at the opening bell, and then later on they recover later in the day, I've found. Also on averaging down and up. I don't average up very often unless I need to slap a wall through. And I only do that on like the crazy days as well. Like things where you have like 1,000% runners. I'll slap a high daybreak wall. If it's very slow in penny day in the penny land also, I'll play large caps. Large caps have a lot of range usually. I can get like dollar moves instead of penny moves. Not sure if it was mentioned already, but are you expecting EVs and infrastructure plays to run this week? You know, to be honest, I think they'll be up a little bit tomorrow, but I don't think they're gonna be gapped like 1,000%. I hope they are because it'll spark the market again for a few weeks, but I don't think they will be. People's been expecting this for so long. Macy's.
What's your take on the new IPO that's supposed to come out Tuesday?
So for me, I don't really play fresh IPOs. I'm not comfortable trading them. I have nothing to base like off the chart. It has one green candle. Like I don't like trading that stuff. So I let those run. Some people get lucky and get stuck in the halts, but for me, it's way too thin. I can't take size, so I don't play those really. I wait for the next few days. Just whenever you're trading, just stick with what you're comfortable with trading. Like you don't have to trade everything that everybody else is. Like if like Callum, he plays the halts. Like I don't play stuff on the unhalts because it's just so volatile. Like I want to be in before, or I'm gonna wait till it settles down a little bit. I don't want to just trade a halt and then get stuck in a halt down. Or like the IPOs, it's not for me. Trade stuff that you're comfortable with and stick to it, whatever you found to be profitable, and don't go away from it. Are you largely a technical or fundamental trader? A little bit of both, probably. Yeah, Callum, you trade stuff slow too. Like, there's nothing wrong with playing slow runners on the day, all day uptrend. If you're good at holding stuff long, I'm not good at holding stuff long. Like, making my money and moving on, waiting for the next setup. Wouldn't infrastructures plays wait until after it passes the Senate, or would it be baked in by then? Honestly, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they're overplayed now. So I do think they're going to be up a little bit in the morning, but I don't think they're going to be gapped or anything crazy. I could be wrong. I hope they're gapped. What's your opinion on the market cycles running the end of the year? What do you think the market will start heating up? The market has already started heating up. We had DWAC and Fun and Mark. They ran like thousands of percent. Before that, we were coming to the desk and we were seeing 20 and 30% runners every day. It sucked. And it's always slow during that time of the year. There's always going to be another runner go 1,000%. So we'll always have something. Yeah, there's Callum's slow runner tail. Callum likes the low volume or liquid stocks, yes. Walrus would cause wick, yep. Yeah, I would ruin the play for everybody else, like if the big guys were playing those plays. Personally, I feel like infrastructure stuff, have people been expecting this? Exactly, people have been expecting the infrastructure stuff already. And how do you know SNMP is not worth 50 cents instead of $1? Maybe it's already up. Sorry, Tyson. When people all expect the same catalyst, it tends to be, yeah, exactly. Everybody's expecting the same thing on those things. If everyone is thinking the exact same way, it's going to be the opposite. Kind of like when Robinhood IPO'd. Robinhood IPO'd, everybody in the market wanted that to go down. And you know how many retail shorts were stuck in that? That's why it squeezed like 50 to 100% in the next few days. I'm big into supply demand as well as of like the past few months. Like I didn't have that on a lot of my charts, but I usually draw that the day of and base my trades off that. Demand, sell, supply, rinse and repeat. Small accounts, better to avoid big furus? Absolutely. If you've been trading furu plays for, ever how long you've been trading them and you found yourself to be losing on them more than winning, why are you paying attention to them, Like the furu plays, not all the furu plays. There's some, like if you want to swing a few weeks or whatever, you can play a certain some ones, but like most of those guys playing day trades, I just wouldn't pay attention to them. You don't want like a stock being forced up because a lot of shorts also attack that, and that causes the big knobs as well. What time frame do you watch for supply demand zones? I look at the daily and I look at the 5-minute time frame mainly. What do you look for in a demand zone in terms of intraday? I look for it to start getting soaked in that area. And then I'll wait for the bounce candle and I'll usually take a position. It's not going to be sell the news when they're already trading at demand. I hope, man. I hope it's literally at like $6 tomorrow morning. I'll trade the hell out of it. How do you know if it's a short squeeze versus a big buy? Because, okay, this is a good question. Whenever you see a setup that should have failed and it shouldn't have recovered and it goes back up and tests high day, shorts are trapped. You know, if the longs think the setup should have failed and one big buyer came in and saved it, or 10 big buyers came in and saved it, and then they get squeezed, that's exactly what happened with DWAC. No, it looked like it was going to fail and then it ripped. And then the short started covering, which caused the panic cover, and then boom, $175 later. I notice a lot of people draw their supply and demand a little. Are you tooling for a consolidation, then a sharp movement, and then draw the line, including the wicks? I'm just drawing my demand and supply with the wicks. I'm not an expert at it. It's what's worked for me. Can we name some fruits on voice to avoid small accounts if you're comfortable to avoid them? Some stocks get pumped by fruits. Just, I mean, I don't know what furus are the best because I don't trade any of the plays. Zero. Someone that I think doesn't want to sell on his followers is probably Zach Morris. Everybody else, I don't know. Sorry, making sales. Making sales definitely don't take his place. But yeah, I don't know what the other guys tend to do. All I'm saying is, if you have a small account and if you're strictly focusing furu plays, you need to take the time to learn how to trade mover that people ain't focused on. It'll help you in the long term, I promise. I used to do the same thing until I lost all my money. If you see something up on random volume with no news, look at Twitter and probably not good to buy it. Absolutely. I always like to play something. If I don't know why it's up, I don't want to trade it. If I don't see news or some reason why this stock should be up today, it's hard for me to buy it.
Walrus, I heard you say just a few minutes ago, you said something about, if news came out for OCGN, it wouldn't necessarily make you buy it. You may have already answered this, but even if something did have a good headline, what do you do to filter out and have some kind of biasing to where you're like, okay, not necessarily like seeking alpha, so to say, headline, or not necessarily some sort of comparative perspective with different news outlets or sources, but what determines whether you actually play a news play versus watch a news play to kind of get a feel for something? Like what, I know the keywords and stuff are important there, but is there some kind of balance or filtering process that you have to where you're like, okay, this is legit news, this is not, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So, usually I will react to the headline if it has keywords in it, like billion, hundreds of millions of contracts, $1 billion contract, Amazon partnership, Bitcoin related, and I will react to that based on the overall market sentiment. Like if the market's crazy right now, I'm probably gonna slap a news headline. 2 months ago, when the market was dead, I'm not going to slap a news headline. I'm going to wait and see how it reacts. Also, like if something with Bitcoin news comes out and Bitcoin is not even like up or near all-time highs, or Bitcoin plays haven't been running recently, it's not even worth looking at because it's not going to run. No one's interested in it. And the OCGN part, like if that news came out intraday, like, who approved Okigen for, you know, whatever they do, vaccines, I'm not going to hit it just because to me that's sell the news. Like everybody's playing Ocugen already for that news. And as soon as it comes out, it's going to sell right off. And I think that's what it done. I didn't look at it, but that's how I play those. I only slap news headlines when the market's crazy too. Like if we don't have a 100% runner, I'm not slapping news headlines.
Before we get off the subject of news, I know that that you have trade ideas, and like myself, and I'm sure many others, we actually don't. And the trade ideas that's accessible, like with Precision Day Trading's YouTube channel and stuff, there's a slight delay there. So, what would be your best recommendation for a news source other than, because here's what I've noticed with myself with news. Like if I'm watching a certain ticker, and luckily, you know, MTA's voice is always really on top of everything, and you know, most of the time we tend to prevail because of that, with knowing, you know, news right off the rip. But so I also use TOS, and within TOS, you know, if you're on a ticker, you get the news, the live news updates. Other than that source, you know, because instead of being proactive, it's kind of reactive for me. So like if I see or hear something, oh yeah, there's news on this, then I'll pull up live news on the ticker, and you know, it's already, you know, kind of late. There's just a type of confirmation biasing there to where you can read it yourself and so on. But I guess what would be the best recommendations that you have for immediate news, like with Twitter, or do you generally just go to like a tweet deck and type in, you know, a ticker, you know, and then again, that would be reactionary. What do you use for news that you get that information out of the gate as soon as it happens?
Yeah. So I think that anybody trying to grow their account and under PDT, I don't think that you need to pay all this money for news sources or for trade ideas, because I just don't think it's that important. I think it's for those things are important for someone who can, you know, play scalps throughout the day and can hear volume coming into play. Somebody that's over PDT. What I did when I grew my small account is I would use Twitter. You know, some of the Furus place good news articles. There's nothing wrong with that. I look at those. I'll look at some of the news Twitter profiles. I have their alerts on, and Discords. Discords are a huge part of that as well. A lot of people post good news plays in Discord, and then I'll pull the ticker up and I'll read the news myself. You know, do I think that news sounds good in this market sentiment right now? And then I'll base my trade after that. I'll look and see how it's trading pre-market, and if it's holding up or it's not holding up, I'll just trade accordingly after the bell. So sell the news event better to short most of the time? I don't know. I don't short a lot. I short hardly, like maybe one time a month. I'm not a big short. I'm a bull. I think FCell and Lucid in this context, last days was a decent trade, but Atlas Group was on it. Okay, Atlas Group can be on Lucid and FCell. No matter how much they tweeted those plays, they're not going to move. You have to go by float size. The floats on that is not going to move those tickers. I played those trades as well. It has to be combined with the setup, in my opinion. Ocugen was sell the news. First red day setup after a multi-day run. It went green to red, then proceeded to aggressively flush. Exactly. It was just a retail flush, retail shorts covering on the green day, and then it flushed even more from the bigger shorts, probably. If it's real volume, it will be sustained. Yep. That's had a similar setup a couple of weeks back. You short on TOS? Yes. If you don't have the EMAs on your charts, I highly recommend it. It's helped my trading a lot, actually. Just to like base where I want to buy stuff and where I want to stop out, it helped me. Many times sell the news, you'll see a pop pre-market and then no follow through, sell off intraday. Yup. You can. It needs to be easy to borrow, or yeah, you can ask TD to turn on You're short. You can be on a program with them, but it's, I think, expensive. The most frustrating shit ever, yeah. Anything else? The FAA news coming, very uncommon. But yeah, so if you have 3 day trades to grow your account, you know, always save a day trade for an overnight in case you had to get out for an emergency or something. That's what I did. I hardly ever use more than 1 day trade a week when I was growing my account. I was more of a swing trader. Now I don't do too much of that. Yeah, save the day trade just in case you have to get out in case of an offering or something that pops up. Jumping on low, have you talked about scaling in already? Yeah, I always take size on my initial buy and then scale in a little bit after that and play around the core. Overnights to set up a day trade, they're the safest when playing a theme. If it's a theme, it'll be multi-day run. Yep. And the day trade to save for Weeble thing too is like, if you take an overnight at like 2 or 3 p.m. in the evening, you can call overnights that early. And if they go up after hours, you can actually just take the day trade and sell it then. They don't always continue the next day. I recently messed up on that on GNUS. And then if you're making day trade, just look for those bullish patterns, flags, ascending triangles, symmetrical triangles. Avoid the bearish ones, descending triangles, bear flag. You don't have to be in a trade every single second of the day. Like I said, 90% of the day I'm not even in a trade. 10% of the time I'm actually in a trade for 8 hours. Also T2s, accordance, yes. Heard whisperings of rumors about a magical land where the markets never close. Yep. Are you drawing support, resistance, and trend lines, or do you just use them naturally from your screen time? I draw mine, and go all from them from there. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, I'm gonna hop off. Final questions. Don't let him leave. Yeah, you guys better answer this question. Like I said, guys, I'm still new to this. I'm definitely not a teacher. That's why I don't teach very much. That's Brad's part. Sometimes I get lucky, you know what I mean? I'm still very new to this. I'm still learning every day also. Is Metaverse theme gonna flop or pay? It's gonna pay. Come on, Metaverse is the future. All right, guys. Later.